wide and long lens difference, right? I kind of created this very quick visual example here because it's often like better to see how it works rather than just talk numbers, right? So this is what we call, let's say 100 millimeter is what we call, well, let's go dramatic, let's go 500, right? This is what we call long lens, right? And from the same view, I'm gonna screenshot this like this, and I'm gonna open it in Photoshop. And then I'm gonna go here and change my lens. As you see, the number is dropping here, so we're becoming wider. I mean, visually you already can see it. Clearly can see the difference between those two, right? In this one, it becomes more compressed. All the lines are less converging. They're almost parallel, get parallel. And I'm sorry, there's a fireworks somewhere nearby. But yeah, now I'm gonna have the same view, and I'm gonna grab another screenshot, and then we can talk about like 20 is quite angle, like a very wide angle lens already. So I'm gonna screen grab this, and then I'm gonna open both and do the comparison thing, right? So here we go. And now if I crop it like this, and then I just do that. Oh, I need to crop with it. Delete. Perfect. Now we go here. Just extend it like this. So this is the difference. It's the same view, pretty much, with different lenses, right? And see how dramatic the changes in those two. So if I drop like this, so this was a long lens, right? And this is a wide lens. So you can clearly see what happened in the long lens, which we kind of briefly talked about, is that all the lines, they converge, all the perspective parallel lines, they converge less, right? And in wide angle, like look how fast they converge. Like, so basically in wide angle lens you have more distortion, more perspective distortion. Another very important thing, which you probably would see if we zoom in a little bit, like for example, if I zoom into one of those characters, let's set the camera target, and I zoom into one of those guys, right? Look at this. So with wide angle lens, if we go and we do screen cap this one, in wide angle lens, just copy paste it here. This is wide, let's put it over here, and then we will go and change it. We can either change number or just slide. It's like this. Let's go very, very long lens, 200. Oh, I see, the character in front was dragged. That's what happened. Yeah. Let's go something like this. Quite dramatic, 300, right? Now we're gonna grab it. So look what happened. Basically, in wide angle lens, same objects offset in the distance towards the horizon, they start becoming smaller and smaller as we move towards the horizon line, while in very long lenses they pretty much remain the same size. The only reason why they kind of look not smaller, we're kind of looking up a little bit, that's why they're kind of receding. But I guess like the size of them in the frame remain pretty much the same, right? And as you can clearly see in wide angle lens, look at this, like the size of this guy was like this, and the next frame it just gets smaller so much quicker. And the wider your lens you will have that decrease in the objects quite, it will be more obvious and more dramatic. So basically those are kind of one of two main elements. It's basically one of them, it's almost like they correlated, because the perspective line converge much faster. You have objects becoming smaller much faster in wide angle lens. Like again, if I go to 20, that's what we will have. And when you study a movie frame, or for example you're trying to come up with your own composition and trying to figure out what kind of lens you're using, just ask yourself the questions: what do you want to do with this environment, with this shot? Either you want to keep all the characters of the same size, and almost, you see the way it compresses, it pushes them closer to each other. Maybe that's the effect you're looking for, right? Something like this. Or you go and create much more dramatic angle, much more wider angle. Really depends on what you're trying to do. Both of them, it pretty much depends on the story you want to tell. And as long as you know what those angles, camera lenses, they do to your image, you will be totally